Yeah, if you just like watch it and make sure it doesn't die in the middle of the way, that'll be good.
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you.
Well, they're.
Yeah.
I'll just walk by a couple times.
Okay, I will make you send it.
They didn't say it.
If it's viable, like we got it.
Are y'all saying?
Oh, that's okay, yeah. I thought you were facing this way, that's why.
Yeah, I'm not facing this way.
Yeah, you're.
That's
Yeah,
what
I got you, buddy. No, I got you. If we have enough for like 2 more rounds, which is great. Just enough.
I'm
Just
not
enough to
walking
finish.
back.
I'll do that, it's fine. You using this table?
That is the question. That is the question.
Yeah, you mind slacking towards us? Yeah. Probably have to add 1 more off. Okay, since we'll-
Okay, what is your consent?
You're making changes.
Fortune, you all good?
No, not yet. I still haven't gotten it. My email's slow.
Yep.
Okay, I'm good. Are you? Sit. Yes.
You guys are like, I gotta say, you guys are like my favorite team to judge. Like, it's awesome.
Thanks.
You guys are hilarious.
Yeah. I promised less fighting during prep than last
No,
time.
don't speak too soon.
Oh, this is the same panel.
It's the exact same panel as that week debate.
Go. You want 3-0? Okay, let's go. We're good.
Alright.
Yeah.
Good to go?
Yeah.
Cool.
Conduct with innovation, AI, and general purpose technology, points of transport research and innovation across all sectors, 2022 AI stands for economic activities, most innovation, right, enabled by data, general purpose technology, bring long-term social benefits, reducing our data use, optimize, waste reduction, savings, and asset utilization, reducing our decost, virtual simulation, reduce cost and time to prototype and use digital twins, AI, suddenly accelerated, and show that GPT and predictors are very fast, and number, marks have been overtaken in all fields, making natural language processing, ML, development, substance, breakthroughs, AI, through diffuse all activities, inventory, health, driving, information, universal input, production, AI, optimizing diversification, improved neural networks, AI, researching all to make sense of large corpora of data, AI, games, role in chemistry, drug discovery, GPT, AI is a major source of growth in national capacity. There's no more low-hanging fruit for technological growth. AI is key to complex problem-solving. Everall 19 growth systems slowing back to the 11.4%. Even maintenance has only been possible due to workers' law introduction and building no low-hanging fruit or hardest second to expand speak of hard to know knowledge that produces useful ideas. Automation AI is leading breakthroughs. AI that facilitates search and complex knowledge bases. The valuable or complexity of systems that stymie advanced changing mechanisms of discovery. Studies confirm AI can reverse secular stagnation. That degree 22 development growth framework explaining how intelligent technology may produce productive spillovers from knowledge spillovers. Conforms to productive J curve. This evidence is suggested about the role intelligent knowledge plays GPTs and their ability to reverse secular stagnation. J curve may be used to be an distortion knowledge formed from the source of origin. Our reflection dynamics and innovational complementarities in favor of the total economy. Secular stagnation causes extinction. Oppenheimer 21. Secular stagnation will impact the way states behave, lower growth, reduce conflict, reconstitution, reduce capacity, comfort, warming, and proliferation, stagnation, increases multiplicity, in national politics, polarized collaboration, toxic, economies of scale, shrink, incentivizing less investment, compromise, growth, overstrong, growth, with retrenchment, reduce independence, leader, 103, hotspot, Korea, peninsula, IC, step 1, North 30, heightened escalation, conflicts, environmental origin, growth, fund, security, loans, reducing siege, mortality, CNC, new states, heightened research, trade for American, growth and decline for the economy, seems to apply power to leverage, decline in American capacity to which leadership is adjusting in direction of retrenchment, lower growth, which nation culture to trust test, conflicts initially confirmed will be redefined by growth, powers, and scope, increase public, China, Russia, renationalization, Japan, Korea, Germany, France, India, China, ISIS leading use of arms control and arms race. Clear economic numbers will start return. Balancing innovation and risk governance is key to public confidence in AI. The public will not trust new technology that looks unregulated, which shutters the industry. Mendel, non-emergent tech are expected to transform society. These computers, robots wreak havoc, emergent tech, and social regulatory countries much. Frankly, calamity, the content on leverage, value benefits regarding risks and increased fear and concern among the public. And limitation industry investment opportunities cannot be achieved. Tech is not built with a secure manner that maintains public confidence, addressing risk related transparency, critical long-term success of tech, GM food, pride, example perceptions on supervised limits, development, portable reaction force, companies to show plans concerned about human safety is growing, is critical industry, the public law, safety, tech, risk, governance, early concern, lead investors begin willing to invest and make difficult commercialization, AI liability, combined with an insurance mandate forces companies to internalize with risk, Wagner 18, risk internalization through insurance mandates, law, accessibility, insurance mandate is precondition for standard corporation meeting workers, so there's no saving period, assets rate, liquid, who will be contribute manufacturers and users, the person is the only conduct who can channel costs or way risk internalization, risk compensation is assured. Person who insures all players in the supply chain, not just the end supplier, bears risk for safety. Vlad 14, the manufacturer's target technology and complex parts may not be made by the manufacturers, far from the manufacturer ships or costs and parts supplied by the other companies, either cause of pride, incentives producers to improve products, and solely cost sharing seem problematic. Solution of reconsumption of intelligent machines is a person this necessitates a broader audience participate in insurance that may be more than fair. Insurance drives safe AI development and avoids moral hazard risk. Private insurance is information and speed advantages. Layer 22 regulation of liability insurance, sector behavior channeling. Insurance incentivize insurance and advice behavior or suffer consequences of insurance. Policy will not cover them. Private insurance with superior info cops reduce moral hazard insurance. Tailor policy based on risk of party pride. Incentive real to reduce commercial liability, avoid higher prices. Insurance allows rules to pressure. Policy rules behave safer. To behave against more profits. Insurance convert uncertain cost of liability a certain premium. Insurance advances credit information about the ways for best ways to reduce risk of loss. Insurance advice. Insurance regulation takes time. Insurance acts faster. Insurance are better for the regulators to industry and pay this quickly and efficiently. That insurance model lowers public aversion to new technology. Layer 22 insurance installation deterrents in parts of the act from many rates activities opposed to the judicial system of insurance facilitated adoption of new tech investments into the law alone. AI uncertainty to the public's tendency to disrupt new technology. This produces a problematic environment for industry. This in AI is a pervasive industry. Alleviate uncertainty to hedge risks is one name of fast circulation of innovation to the commercial market. Sustained AI innovation caps existential risk, informational organization, including disease, beginners. In 22, AI guarding existential risk, crucial and pandemic, discovering vaccines, improving in projections. There are thousands of symptoms of virus. Machine learning can predict which to target machine intelligence can help battle the disease and foretold spread. AI, the most important defense against pandemic, can be expected to improve MLs and progressive made prior to the warning. Continuing progress is pretty important. As future medics will impose excellent threats addressing exit chart workers organizing information. AI help avoid all. AI helps reject climate change, helps build adapt to make energy production efficient. As construct human predict AI can force all dangers. Government to have made attention. Flow poverty risks that result in catastrophes. Low benefits warning efforts to risk large. Uncertain immediate simulations, empirics, and connectivity prove diseases existential. Came in 21 epidemics and threaten life-threatening diseases. Infectial nodes. These lead to extinction endemics such as black death, Spanish flu, smallpox, SARS, and Ebola affect lower population risk. Increase probability we design a simulation. Disease will affect every person. Previous studies do not conduct a quantitative assessment taking into account physical conduct results of real extinction as possible. Plan the United States should confer civil legal obligations into autonomous intelligent computer systems. Condition to is openness. The AI market is opening. Industry demands for flexible AI usage will drive a near-term shift towards modularized, unbundled products. Weighing in 22 rapid uptake in AI can be treated to information processing business uses single one solution. We're seeing a rise in demand for modular tooling that equips the ability to flexibly run custom ML teams looking for their third-party vendors. The Beth farmers build custom operation that will be journey sites. Workers like companies build their own AI solutions. They use open source and market developing customer roles. Run the bulk of AI adoption in the coming years. Enterprise solutions are winning. Enterprise will want integrated black box. They want flexibility to treat every component. Performance will no longer be the market, so requirement leads to modularization of the entire stack. AI usage will shift from integrated single products to unbundled combinations of hardware and software from multiple firms. Explore traditional definitions of the manufacturer. Fenwick and 22 can speed up technologies is important to future regulatory choice. Unbundling modularization AI will tech. In other contexts, AI will adopt an integrated approach that allows intermediate system with software combined with which hardware and software. The simple distinction between developers, producers, and operators and users seems to complicated amount of modularization. Distinction between manufacturers and developers is more complicated than no single developer. OpenAI is fatal for existing liability schemes. They require consumers to pick through dozens of supply chain players to figure out who to sue. This makes redress terminally uncertain. Wagner 18 about products where the manufacturer controls behavior will change dramatically if your products will not be close to user interference. It will be very difficult to figure out whether the hardware or software mismatches the cause. You have shown that distinction in open closed systems is where hard and software is separate from other products. The solution obscure in theory there is simple product liability. In practice, the law may pose obstacles. The victim needs to prove who the various actors the victim want to investigate. Hardware software modification. The burden may deter victim from bringing suit. Undermine certain amount of success in the solution. I believe a burden on the victims to hold the system accountable, liable. Personhood solves allows consumers to simply sue the AI. Expert insurers work to allocate costs. Wagner 19 bundling. Manufacturers lose control. Results become blurred. Damages claim fails. People injured face serious difficulties and identify the party responsible for promotion of robot to a liability subject may bundle liability to a single entity. The burden would shift from victims to liability. Robots liability insurers. Professional players better able to investigate and hold manufacturers programs to users accountable. Certain access to remedies for AI damages to key consumer uptake of open AI. Jackson 19 beyond tech hurdles error AI are legal social challenges development is intertwined with accountability and judicial system. Social acceptance is dependent on legal means and remedy consequences and future AI to all sectors may be entered. Although driven by economics and the consequences of expectation and underpin any discussion from harm to critical missions of liability, uncertainty can take many forms. Social benefits only goes so far as society perceives of economic principles. The law mechanism of accountability may define the pace of AI's immersion into humanity. Accountability lack threatens to undermine benefits of the stifling transformation of industries. Liability places in world maturation of AI, ability of liability to trust. AI may pave the how society manages autonomous intelligent AI yet to come. Openness makes AI non-excludable good, which prevents unsafe racing that causes global catastrophe, death, and reveal. 21. Competitive virtues increase risk casual outcomes via AI convergence into the programs and operate. And developers don't have to start from scratch. Public goods anyone can benefit from include OSS cooperation of the structure of economic and competing projects increase risk of a catastrophe. Developers might coerce and safety of non-niche AI races maybe coordination situation developers and collectively benefit to pool their efforts. The first AI to reach the ability to take over global outcomes would be determined by extreme winner takes all the AIs. That safe winning would be harm to include human extinction, probably catastrophe, include increase from there. More competing teams. Cooperation may be feasible in the absence of enforcement. Imperial states for real action by communities and effective initiatives to succeed in other contexts. No regard to be important for AI using open source, closed source software to be combined. Open AI may be more tuned to public interest. Competitive winner takes all AI races ensure quarter cutting unsafety that makes AI an existential risk, even short of superintelligence fold. In 21, intelligence explosion AI enters recursive self-improving culminating superintelligence. Explosion could spark from narrow intelligence and installs only specific tasks capable of improving scale architecture alpha zero interleave proof. Playing against the self-destiny of humanity can be dictated system run amok. We would lose control over truly advanced AI by AI harm. For instance, one of the reasons we're hard load for human life loss control could result without explosion. Superintelligent AI system becomes sophisticated, post as long as their domain is critical. The AI is right incentives to trade off safety to gain a relevant advantage over a competitor. A competitive racing team would surrender its lead race at the bottom of the rise vectors to make AI safe, reduce effectiveness and proper. Most safety leads to vulnerabilities, including malicious actors. Competitive race with intensified safety precautions. They prevent any explosion. AI risk and propose experts who contribute to court control. Limited liability is not confer corporate rights. Line 21 courts are ad hoc. Corporation more title property contracts be rendered. Each right each reflecting ad hoc approaches by litigation. The court resisting answering whether corporation would be a person. Corporation with middle class collection. The phrase would be cited in the case the court has not articulated framework. The function perspective is divisible. The people not possess all obligation. Conception of person is just not just put out the right decision. Great personhood. The church revealed it's not a clear-cut line. Open AI models democratize access and lower global inequality. For instance, disenfranchise agents from wreaking havoc. Global 17 risks of inequality and discontented fosters the developing world's home techniques with disenfranchisement from the world economy. This sense of strict credentials. The tech has become easier for small groups to wreak more havoc. Marginals. Case in the world may appear more and more. Which has some motivation right havoc. Open source software seems one route. Free to open source software broadly pointed promising destruction. We should advancing AIs in a way that is open source and open process. Extinction towards 17 enter risk. Humans couple themselves to advanced tech and bring about existential catastrophe given increasing sensibility of emerging tech. CRISPR, Silex, nanobot drones, results of distribution, destructive capabilities, multiplying after table, not destroying the world, focusing on loss and agents, and weapon control, destruction, will A, today's single WTD, will B contain 10,000, A is run by one markers, B is run by P6, A, B appears less likely to self-destruct, agent, no risk, can initiate existential catastrophe on purpose or by accident.
Alright, you good?
Yep.
So I want to talk about civil legal obligations. What are those in the plan?
Legal obligations would be the artificial intelligence could incur civil liability in towards suits.
Okay, so your mechanism for the unbundling stuff is like when I feel like I'm harmed by AI, I go hire a lawyer, I sue the AI, and then how do we unbundle the stuff to like solve it?
Well, the point is that you don't need to unbundle in the world of the plan because the plan means that the liability is just rebundled into the AI. So
Wait,
instead of having to
how-
decide who to sue,
Okay, so what
in
is the
supply chain,
mechanism? Who pays for the insurance that pays out the AI?
private insurers would dictate based upon contributors to the AI supply chain, the relative riskiness of your product determines
Okay,
how
and
much
so-
you need to pay into insurance.
And so the app says if the AI is sued, then and the AI is sued, then they lose the suit. No matter what happens,
the insurance pays
the
out.
insurance will pay it out.
Yeah.
And is there no discrimination based on who the manufacturer is or the?
Well, the AI is the one that's insured, right? So it doesn't really matter who the
So
manufacturer
what if
is
there's like
necessarily.
9
the
years,
AI is the
like
one
there's,
being held liable.
your argument is that there are a bunch of parts of AI that
Right.
you can't determine, who exactly made which part. So let's say there are 10 part manufacturers. 9 of them are super duper safe. One of them is not very safe. They're the ones contributing to most of the AI injuries. Your plan says that it just spreads the cost along all 10 of those and doesn't give a shit about the ones
Right, so
that
the-
do bad things.
Yeah.
You can adjust, the insurance companies would adjust premiums depending on the amount of risk
So
calculated.
they
for
can
companies.
determine then the
Right, it's not like a
through
one-size
fact-finding
fits all
investigation.
blanket framework. Our point is that private insurers have the expertise to efficiently allocate
Private
premiums based
insurance
on
has
risk.
the expertise to efficiently allocate the
Yes.
costs. Okay. And your argument is just that regular consumers can't.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do we need to sue the AI to be able to access insurance?
Because you don't, the consumers need to know who to sue. So insurance only solves how the liability damages
Why
are paid
can't they
out,
just-
not how the
Okay,
case
so-
is litigated.
If there's assurance that doesn't so in a world of no fault, for example, why can't they just claim, ask for make a claim with their insurance company?
With your insurance, because the insurance does not fall on the artificial intelligence. The insurance would be a manufacturer or a developer has to be found liable before no fault
Okay.
pays out.
And then, but your argument is those insurance companies that the manufacturers are using are able to aggregate the information to find who is it?
Private insurers are able to aggregate the
Okay,
information
fantastic.
based upon
so-
the different components
Great,
of the supply
yeah.
chain.
So, is there a situation in which the manufacturer itself can be found at fault, even if it's just like a premium issue? Are there any other ways?
Yeah, like if the manufacturer does something that would be normally found at fault in a civil suit, then yeah, that doesn't change existing liability on the part of manufacturers. The plan just fills in the gap
So,
when there was
At
ambiguity
what
of
point
who should be held
at
at
what
fault.
point does the plan cures prevail to hold the manufacturer directly liable?
When courts determine that it's necessary based upon the plan's liability scheme.
I said it.
Let's,
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
good to see you.
How you doing?
Want to see sent. Order is going to be Adolf Innovation Openness. Yeah, that looks stable. When everyone's good. I'm not starting.
Yeah, give me just a second.
No worries.
Okay, I'm good.
Everyone's good? Perfect. First off is fetal personhood, conservatives are guiding for fetal person now, but like legal justification, right, what you do? The judiciary took up the consequence of having law recognized fetuses with rights and custom legal source court recognizing every human being has a future and right. This new terrain of legal opinion gave voice to the idea of a person in the way we've never seen. This not single recognizing the rights of fetus, but Democrat for those who want to give legal rights. The granting legal personality arms conservatives with power over rhetorical sword to slay fetal person nations for 11. For those supposed person, how many seem like God's hanging nine the fetus of new and you very purposes the balls of mind your flesh is infection gives like such as these house men of arrival. What is the range of appeals lesser compared to others can be when you stretch recognition rights, which constitutional burden of the fetus, any more like versus a rhetorical weapon or fetus not next up. That means extragenetic testing, national space exploration, barriers, ready. Ethical right for research, the required development of genesis, and the community little just been focused on the ethical issue surrounding development, parity, infection, and it's part of clearly accurate governance and way piece of cultural difference between research efforts and partial. At the beginning of the end, IVF moves the areas of the implementation of the womb. You can support units, both in direct gestation for fetus removed from the womb, or where research programs carried out, these will be restricted by laws and research. Extension of growth is now only actually just able to solve this for all at all 12. Intersol which require any human basic decision rights within a century within 50 years of weight mobilization emissions to be launched. The chief biomedical body through required for EAC is actually just in human from early stage embryo, the ultimate the institution of during naval, biology, respiration, assessment, emulating pregnancy, other items which will continue genetic reaction. Procedure to genetic organs when if yourself providing custom trades. Next off, the insurance counterclaim. The United States require manufacturing for artificial intelligence computer programs versus no fault liability insurance coverage until the instances where artificial intelligence computer programs cause damages support development of policies to abolish the legal duty to fulfill tort claims originally damage parties, allow insurance to seek compensation for covered damage parties who act negligently or benefiting, require insurance companies to redirect consumer damages to guide names to the correct insurance company filed the claim with. The counterclaim themselves without getting any legal status, the legal 22. Alien will insurance companies is powerful given the ability to minimize damages made to insurance legal security, spending responsibility, and the insurance will provide security for policy code loss for victims. The majority of businesses will purchase insurance to have themselves for lawsuits. The paper should be bound nationally, and the company manufactures the best fashion way that it does not prevent the consumer from purchasing, but it does not burden them. Next off is the pick. The United States should confer several legal obligations onto complex information processing systems. Reject the phrase are the necessary intelligence with machines, the use of skills, development of computational techniques, effective regulation of it. Maybe sorry one. And to introduce research conclude the national intelligence about AI is bad name. As soon as you are the words human in this making session about the intelligence, humanly to be aggressive as AI is following short words of power. As well as so complicated by comprehension to people inflate expeditionless setbacks to point universal blood AI, which is with the funding support. I tried another model that integrated upgrades AI fuels and tech industry drive. The purposes evolving in the qualifies. These things were invested in basically the policymakers who said how to prepare innovation AI is misnomer uses massive amount of data to turn in the very narrow tasks and the problems. And that shouldn't be confused with innovative machines. It should not allow the math which call complex information processing. Next off, spillover granting legal personality leads to AI judges general and twenty. A practically legal entity with all rights and duties allow robots to be managed parties. Some of the questions the legal nature of the robot and robot judge and links if we made it, or whatever can be given the party trial will to make a robot can be a judge. The judge class the rule of law Michael 20. A human judge can be persuaded to reason is not clear in AI judge. The persuadability contribute to the reality of how we play a role in shaping the law, proper role of judiciary is in adapting to changing society. By persuading the law and the most balanced person against the need for adapt. A judge should be encouraged by values. The human system great benefit to updating data like human. A judge is also part of society. That offends the global model for the role of law norms for guarantee. The United States to lead the U.S. for leadership or role of law is key to the geopolitical power, global democratic institutions, geographies, and prosperity. Given other leaders, organized families, there is something divergent. We utilize rule of law as a priority for practicing also to competitors. The result is global political fragmentation that ushers in a worldwide conflict of rights and property. Liability 20. Construction remembers the strength and respect and obligation are essential basis of human rights and the emphasis of poverty, social conflict, and moral reserves, humanity, political fragmentation, otherwise basis structures needed, more welfare rights, cultural toleration requires legal norms, humanity, defense, and constitutional structures. Next up, states, 50 states and all relevant sub-national entities to confer civil legal obligations to autonomous intelligent computer systems. AFP 2012. New states means geographic sense means district, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Guam, State, Northern Mariana Islands, government sense means DC, political sense means DC. Next up, politics. Congress is roasting when nothing is not only been the path forward is new bipartisan measures for Biden actually passes. That's the plan. That's why immigration for November 15. Separate for basing the main lowered expectation. Democrats will be satisfied nomination. Democrats discussing immigration. It's necessary. This is clear. This is before Republicans leave the thing. The only way to move the House to lead. We'll work in setting examples and take the steps by party. Not all successful help in the senators have passed immigration. The House refuses government shutdown and starting invasion by party. The question of whether Republicans allow things to become maintenance veto power leaves without gallery ambitions and allow against the good deals. Affections to interest in big negative leadership by making it involved. You're going to have a difference in the required presidential leadership. See arm trade liberalization for border wall expansion. That's all now. Shanties other 12-13. Take them then in place to maintain border security, current mansions, secure air, and just listen to letters by Biden and they pledge bipartisan legislation allow DHS by implementing programs. Colors function, but the Senate when agencies failed. Color additional resources to the border. Who expects more help to get the border wall and negotiations. Always the aim. Even though Trump is not really serving up the wall, color Senate is going to Congress as an immigration form. That crushes U.S. leadership. South Carolina knowledge was a similar trade. Next, the top President Borden is starting the power. They will watch the beginning and then keep in mind. As for the policy, I was showing native actually stressing here in here. In hospital signals were also impacting trade and securitization between South America and symbolic. Much of the reduced the state's attractive distance importance as well as a questionable economic immigration crime, helping with security benefit. Your South America need to solve existential crisis like in 2011. Despite challenging U.S. reliability criteria, relevance, ability, and seats, trusting your theory, South Africa's crucial standing, leveraging its role in the 80s, South Africa's crucial one turnaround, applying it, rating stuff, to transfer nuclear balance here, this boosted the influence. Next off, CapK, the affirmative expression of rights in AI is doubling down on unstable world, corporate development of technology, loss and info, environmental crap, democracy, trashing, mind control, it's try or die for a way to transition from corporate AI parasite. Again, of self-civilization in line with the needs humanity can also achieve beneficial AI when making civilization needs real, only people simple the essence space, needs government to great person into corporations of able to maximize the best of money. It's a vital superhuman capitalism, the line needs corporation on humans. Civilization can escape the problems of regards civilizations after distribution. Our government to be held in the corporations that involve society or environment, and the tobacco gasoline fracking after drilling greenhouse gases, so rivals can change. When property revenue newspapers gone out of business to Google, they make income and then info dissemination lethal and need marks to be seen to stress gas which marks days by corporation and influence in human manipulation. The elaborating of artificial alterations of pure market controls insufficient time properties and all time high air. The case society invented to retaliate corporations through custom misalignment societies all the humans we need to reinvest society. Last T duties are mandatory obligations for lower 9. Additional legal obligations are need to be satisfied. The effort is optional obligations of obligatory legal duties in CO3. 20th century does not give rights to duty found under it does not only have a legal obligation to fail to pay. It is being down to any liable. No liability may have to fail to pay liabilities correlated with power. Plaintiff against the defendant or refuse to be answerable because the defendant is wrong. The plaintiff is stating the plaintiff is empowered. It's not freestanding legal obligation. Voting liability slows the topic may applies to the infinite number of sectors, harms or damage to or justified legal duties or marred. So it's the most predictable. And also going to innovation. First, there's no liability fields. Innovation time now. Capture McLaughlin 21. The U.S. Supreme Court related to pursuing heavily weighting their certificate capitalism and management number of starters from CDA no more. Then Chinese use software performance 3 times more on air. The Chinese EU combined average use research quality still higher. Second, no internal link to solving flow growth, the aging U.S. population, lack of worse for trading trade deficits, and more all take out their impact, and there is no impact as well. 20. I don't think even extraordinary economic conditions that much impact of war. The U.S. suffered for recession and the 20 wars that related to the economy pressure because war they were taking 9 in the last 5. They do not solve the wars unless you believe them. They will win and achieve victory. The motivation for wars is security and economic gain. Economic conditions only one factor will make really most significant. For the AI can't come out rest. AI will not be geared towards solving public goods of all 18. With your burden to relevant access to and avoid restrictions as you employees the creating the ratings skeptics mainstreaming I could be only used only in dishonest ways. Government safety testing corporations influence public opinion based on Google Microsoft shape the way to public the opinion in the ways to back up fossil fuel and chemical industries cannot develop into super intelligent false aggressive actors that have at least over the 80s for narrow game this plus jobs for talking super intel. 5 taking liability off AI against weaponized shield harmful AI development share 18. Overrepresentation to think human nations subject as not subject to such limitations technical questions against recognize AI time to raise the accountability customer reassurance will be available for would mean it would be legal responsible to action that would eventually stand for humans to do rights and take responsibility. That in turn that caused the financial crisis turns the IFRS 17. Every potential forms will become unbelievably trying to hurt or sustain the rest of the financial stocks won't really make out the defendant similar data attack. The test and little volatility may not understand solving the financial crisis environments creating nervous for day relying third party developers that those fail. The effects of work contributing to major disruptions. I'll go to openness. First, too many all causes mistrust of the app and underuse of contract 21. 20% companies do 8% short self reinforcing failure to appreciate potential low trust and limited adoption, limited understanding feels and this under my trust take time for the lack of simple power to replace the pure of replacing competition data. How can we thought rights or outdated data? How can make up any data scientists trust something leaders want to work at continuously once that option is insufficient. Second presumption, Dartmouth's only internal link article in the openness that James concludes personhood is banned in a confusing strategy for solving the liability issue with the plan takes out both advantages. 1 AC Jackson 19. As one of the able AI can only open new possession with staff granting nice the law represents how we see the conversation will be right on the level. Obligation for conversation can be passed on the owners, legal ID, touch reverted, and we complicated no one else's specific litigation will be driven by the principles such as developers, manufacturers, and owners directly responsible for the AI they choose to implement. 3. Openness is inevitable. People always leak and replicate code where that's Wiggers right to you. Research is able to holding a code and embrace scientific value. Members of the AI community made it their mission. No questions to house based delivery systems for structure frameworks open folder go to verify alpha could be reduced to make available to compose the key to provide the trial and then allowing others to build open what is the only project with the kind of groups that are attempting code is Alpha 0 and Alpha Star. For or it's impossible to get openness in AI. This also to motivation to really got all those possible collaborating in AI. There's never time to do so. More difficult models have significant problem reducibility. The collaboration between all open source. They're trying to be secret to the infrastructure technology you don't. You won't be able to train Travis to large for university OBD 175B can be reduced by Google and OpenAI to listen to any face infrastructure or custom hardware to be reduced on any would be able to do with it given it couldn't be reduced anywhere else. 5. They can't solve open source that probably highly developed AI costs. It's the ancient risk they should seek to try and resolve crime. The AI techniques like capable of testing network specialty knowledge of AI open source is therefore accessible and adaptable and reach the access development instrument. But the representatives simply need to develop AI could quickly rely on long state access to individuals. 6. No internal to agential AI. One you see grows and the groups who develop AI can monopolize knowledge. One you see Torres says if non-state groups get AI, it could be existential. But if they do not have a piece of evidence saying non-state groups have the motive or capacity to develop AI, and there's no arms if they share most of the environment means the traditional definition of arms is or GA fields and arms it doesn't know the area of spending AI state adopts new tech modernized it's not automatically in arms race. This is factors way to growth and defense and expanding the areas of reach the increase of common criteria military and spending does not meet these criteria. I marked that last card to meet these criteria. Yeah, I'm good for cross-outs.
Okay, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Status of the author, can you kick individual planks?
Status quo is always an option. Yeah, we can kick planks.
Okay, I want to talk about the second plank of the second counter plan, abolish the legal duty to fulfill tort claims originating from damaged parties. What is the function of this plank?
The function of this plank is establishing that if you directly or yourself wronged by artificial intelligence to receive compensation, you do not have to file torts. You just have to receive a payout from your insurance, and that puts the burden on the insurance companies.
So this is like a legal statement that people should file with insurance
the same way.
claims
Well, no,
instead of going
yes,
to
it's
the court
like
system.
you do not have a tortious claim from damage from artificial
so
intelligence.
I'm
You
gonna
have to
ask-
get an insurance payout, and then the insurance can engage in the tort action. It's the same way the plan
A
works.
few follow-ups on that. How is it assessed whether an autonomous intelligent computer program has caused damages for
In the same way,
so-
the same mechanism. The affirmative engages in.
Well, the
finding out
affirmative
if AI
engages in tort
caused the issue.
liability.
No.
You've banned tort
We
liability.
So
disagree
you
with
said that if there was a sufficient level of, neglect, that there would be a bail-piercing mechanism. If that is the case, then the insurance company would do that same bail-piercing mechanism.
So
And
who
more
determines
importantly,
that?
in the instance of a counterplan, when you file a claim with your insurance company, you're then able to use the insurance company's fact-finding mechanism that you said they already had to determine which part of the supply chain is at fault. And if a particular part is at fault,
We said
they're
insurance
free to
companies have
provide-
fact-finding mechanisms to determine risk, but how does an insurance company
No
determine?
fault still has risk. If you purchase no fault,
Let me
you
ask a
have bunch
question.
of,
How does an insurance company determine whether or not a claim is legitimate and whether they should need a payout?
So, for example, you file a claim with your
Uh-huh.
company. You're like, "This AI hurt me." Like the insurance company.
Why would an
have-
insurance
will
company ever
investigate your
pay out?
claim, like same as any
Why
other
would
insurance
they
company.
say that the AI caused the harm? Why wouldn't they just say the AI didn't cause the harm? We don't have to pay out.
Then that also applies to the app.
No, because the AF has the court system determine.
Right,
what
and
liability
also
is
in the
imposed.
same
You have
way, you
insurance
are
companies
able to
do it.
contest insurance claims. You would be able to contest insurance claims in the world of the counterplan.
Wait, what? How do you contest insurance?
Like,
so
if-
now people
so like-
litigate?
Yes,
The
people
courts-
in the status quo.
the
way you-
courts
yeah.
will engage in litigation and obviously they don't want to pay, so they'll be like, "We didn't do it." There's a standard the app sets for whether or not you actually get the money, or if there's no app. That same standard.
Wait, but you just said, you
insurance
started
companies
this
will
process with saying we don't want people to go through litigation. The second
See,
point of the
it
counter
doesn't have to be
all go through
mandatory,
insurance
especially if the
claims.
insurance company is willing to pay out.
Okay, but people can just file, the solvency mechanism of the counterplan is staked on insurance determining when to pay out.
Yes.
What about the app confers legal personality status on AI?
We think that basically this card is more allowing it to be its standalone legal entity in litigation. That's like what the card says.
Okay,
It
but-
says being a product legal entity with rights and duties.
Why does
which
being
is
able
what
to
the
be
affirmative
sued render one capable of jury service?
Well, I think it's also not jury
Judge
service.
service,
It's
rather.
AI judges. The Julian evidence indicates that the sole question is whether you can
Wait,
be
wait,
party
what
to a suit.
evidence do you have that
The
like,
Julian
the judicial
evidence
system
is
is
just
willing to employ
says
AI as a judge?
that so long as you have a duty and can be party to a suit, you can now become a judge. That's the way the current precedent works, and will be
Why
applied
can't
to all
corporations
different
become judges then?
Well, we think that there's sort of a fundamental difference between duties of that and duties of AI as a standalone entity. Corporations are a collection of individuals.
10 minutes.
Not much change, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems to kind of, that was one question I had, is what's the biggest change in 5 years?
Fucking hybrid online.
Yeah, just kind of more.
Like one judge on
just.
Oh, okay, but that is often, yeah. And so can you have like if this was the one judge in the
Yeah, we had a bunch of people like that. We're two teams in a room and a judge in a box.
That's crazy. And how many?
Georgetown, you read every position, right?
What was that?
You read every position.
We read, yeah,
There were like
everything.
85 total entries.
The off-
so
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything was read, except we marked the last year
Yeah.
at the bottom of the ones.
They're like,
Is it like, do people still do that with trying to save money?
I think so. Like,
Yeah.
like Kentucky is online a ton this year. I think it's just like cheaper. Like, MSU has been online a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's been like, so was last year mostly still all virtual?
Yeah. Last year the only in-person things were Harvard, Texas, and UT.
Okay. And so with the NDT, you can do this like, I'm gonna stay home.
Last year they did. I don't know what they're doing this year. I don't know if like the director's letter has been released or anything yet this year. So
So has there been like any just wild like tech breakdowns that ever happened in like a big thing?
nothing like so catastrophic that it's like a story.
Yeah.
You know.
Might make a round take longer or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, like the 2021 NDT, I was judging prelim, and like that was when like everyone was, you know, last year like online debate, we were all in the hard house, but like the pandemic year, like we were all at home.
Right.
So like I'm sitting at home judging a prelim with the NDT, and like unbeknownst to me, the Bluetooth on my headphones goes out, so I can't hear anything. And so I'm just like sitting there, you know, like looking at the camera, and then I realized like, oh, the 2A is unmuted. They've been like that for a minute. And so I put in the Zoom chat, if you are talking, I cannot hear. Stop. And I had to stop the debate, restart the 2AC. Because, you know, they asked like, is anyone not ready? And I didn't say anything. I couldn't hear them.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's funny.
Yeah. I felt real bad, but, you know, that's what it is. But like that's like the caliber of tech stuff that happens, right? Like someone freezes.
But you guys pretty
7:38.
much go to effort permit now.
Yeah, we do some, you know, like a little
Oh, sorry,
online.
7:13. I can't.
So like, Rutgers does a round robin, same thing as Dartmouth for like the kind of like next
Like
year
the
teams.
pit round.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're going to that. We were going to this regional Indiana tournament, but since I'm going to Rutgers now, we don't have a driver in Indiana, so that would be.
Well,
you know,
also,
Who are
are
you
you
guys?
coaching?
so it's me, Fritz, and LT,
Okay.
and then like a few kind of like rotating assistant
Okay,
people.
yeah.
who, like,
How's Fitz doing?
It's good.
Yeah. I didn't see him.
Okay,
Yeah,
what's that?
he like got COVID or something COVID adjacent like a couple days before the tournament.
That sucks, yeah.
So, yeah.
Health-wise, otherwise.
Yes, he's been good.
Yeah.
Sorry, where'd you stop at?
What was it, 7:13?
7:13.
Okay, yeah, that's what I had, and then I thought you were started, but that was just me.
Are we all good for an order? Awesome. Advantage 1, advantage 2, T, nearest person, the AI pick, state's counter plan, you called it the spillover DA, the one about AI judges, fetal personhood, agenda politics, capitalism. Good to go? Yeah, everyone else good? Okay, awesome. Innovation is
is low now. Their evidence suggests that investment is high, but our evidence indicates the uptake of AI is occurring slowly. They've also dropped the slow growth that exists now, which means we have to reverse the trend of secular stagnation via the productivity gains provided by AI. Yes, internally to slow growth, our evidence says that if AI is adopted as a general purpose technology, it will spread wide across the economy and reverse the trend of secular stagnation. Yes, econ impacts slow growth, causes extinction because it increases nationalism, breaks down global institutions, and causes global retrenchment, which undermines insurance and insurance. The Walt evidence is about a short-term economic recession, not a long-term decline caused by secular stagnation. AI is catered to public goods over Guinness. Evidence says it can solve warming asteroids and disease because it generates a new solution to the problem via informational organizations. Group the liability shield turn 1. Uncertainty means manufacturer behavior like their liability shield and now life with the core team. We're not sitting by the shift into the ground with the mercury classification for everything. Able to proceed under the existing short regime on the change the A's class of the service negligence apply. And the change the plaintiff's recovery would be sent to insurance solves, insurance just premiums up for unsafe diversity. AI 3. Openness solves the shift from competition to cooperation. AI development eliminates the cuts to corners. 4. The plan says autonomous. It does not cover people using AI to intentionally commit specific crimes. 5. Veil piercing solves life when eliminating should be liable. For example, situation person would be liable to cheat court development mechanism to hold corporate entity accountable to non-law and take the box. Human stakeholders be subject to personal liability will harm to growth and human manufacturing. AI may be subject to appeasing the corporate bail section. People behind the Form 8 case turn the economy impact that was explained above. 9. 2010 flash crash empirically. 2010 flash crash empirically denies the impact, the openness advantage. There are not all causes to openness. Our evidence says that if there was a stable liability scheme, that it can cause the uptake. That is the critical internal link to causing the uptake of open AI because critical uptake causing the open up AI because manufacturers and consumers are currently uncertain about the way AI products occur. Our evidence does not say the person who is confusing. Jackson says that the person who creates a stable liability scheme, and our Fenwick evidence for substantiates that by saying it rebundles liability with the AI, which solves openness. Openness is not inevitable. Their evidence is just a snapshot that says that there are open source forms of AI now that exist now, but our evidence goes a step further and says the uptake is not as high as it could be. It is not impossible. Their evidence cherry picks the threshold for this internal link is not literally every single manufacturer chooses to open source their product, which is what their evidence says. It can't solve agential risk. Our evidence says it stops people disenfranchised by technology from using biotech, then genetic engineering to attack people. Yes, we don't need to win literal AGI to solve this impact, but our evidence says that tech race alone is sufficient to cause extinction because it causes people to cut safety corners at the expense of getting a competitive advantage over their competitors. Now, topicality 1, we meet the plan is not optional. It's a mandatory tort law duties. 2, legal obligations are legal duty standards. 18 elements of negligence and pursue legal claim duties, legal obligations, predictability. Their evidence has no intent to define it as arbitrary because it just defines legal obligations in the form of legal duty. 4, over limiting and leave no apps because virtually every app can roll back some optional duty. 5, functional limit checks. The nearest person in spillover makes being negative easy. 6, reasonability. Race to the bottom or the competing insurance cause race to the bottom. Nearest person 1, permission to both. 2, permission to the count of 1. The count of 1 functionally vested duty. Ground 21, ownership property. Human agents, corporations, legal person relies on shareholders actor as behalf of not expect the actual possession of property by the system of a human that an animal relying human agents the excess property rights. Oversimplification. 3, insurance payouts do not solve. Consumers don't trust that they'll pay out an unwilling means individual supply chain contributors can escape liability. People need to be able to sue the insured AI entity itself. Insurance payouts without the tort system means there's no incentive for insurance companies to issue a payout. 4, links to liability shield and to spillover because if you're finding the insurance company and that treats an artifactual entity as a legal person, 5, it obviously also links to politics since it is still doing something related to AI, which is all in link with about 6, can't facilitate consumer certainty for open AI. AI products will be increasingly modularized custom products distributed across multiple companies require the consumer plaintiff to identify a liable party that isn't the AI itself. It's too difficult, costly, which ensures buying AI collapses the industry. That's Jackson and Fenwick. 7, supply chain safety, letting non-manufacturers off the hook discourages innovation and safety for all firms. 8, no fault insurance is too costly, causes market exit, takes innovation to 19, no fault benefits, happens to win a victim to guarantee pay out on insurance cost. And then the question becomes insurers will be able to pay out on a victim to the most likely to seek compensation. And the insurers not in coverage or accept the market entirely limited liability. These two sort of pulling risk but not resolving the uncertainties about liability, showing itself non-conditionalities, voting issue makes two CDs as counterpoints unstrategic because they hit the head on dispose reciprocal and solves AI pick 1, perm do both 2, perm to the counterpoint 3, counterpoints must be textually and functionally competitive is key to force net benefits be germane to the plan to avoid pending labs. 4, picks for a voter inflates the value of bad net benefits and makes vague and then incense vague plan writing. 5, uncertainty. It's uncertainty, can't solve openness, not using the term AI means consumers won't trust the stability of the legal system to generate victories for them. 6, certainty is key to innovation, i.e. 17 legal presidency, remarkable advantage corporation of the lifetime running like the size of AIS, and the central removing the uncertainty associated with obligation expectation for organization and operation clarification will encourage certain development and then the AIS and clarify liability. 7, use of AI is inevitable, there's no uniqueness for the net benefit. 8, no spillover, not using the word AI in the plan isn't key. 9, discourse is the shape reality, plan text is a shorthand, plan solves the net benefit via openness, which is explained on the case page. States count on 1, permutation to both 2, permutation to the count of 3, US includes any state, the LIL, no date, US has to be US possession or any state, NDC 4, 4, the regulation rule fact which causes unpredictability that perceived lack of certainty crushes trust. That was explained on the counterpoint above. 5, no solvency advocates voting issue can't instruct the based on duty element and mechanism. 6, 50 state as voting issue makes possible degenerate deficits because literature doesn't contemplate uniform action. 7, state action on autonomous contracts will be preempted for 18 crudo. So also go to the E6 percent for the UTA and Nissan. If a smart contract code is used as valid legislation ensures well the contract is enforceable with harmful federal re-entry Nissan parts and E6 law given or giving effect to a specific text preempted conflict state laws provide incentive for Congress to preempt those the remove barriers to commerce rights. Creep 1, no spillover. Supreme Court precedent decisions are not conceptually united, they always line draw arbitrarily, and that's lie. 2, insurance solves it holds manufacturers indirectly accountable by adjusting premiums for irresponsible behavior, which would check AI as judges. 3, rights to be judges would also result in duty, which ensures they do not totally destroy the rule of law. 4, no internal link to rule of law. Their says AI judges may not be good, that doesn't lead to mass replacement of human judges or end the legal principles underlying the rule of law. The AI judges also wouldn't get hired if they were so bad. 5, all causes the rule of law. Gitmo, ILO violation. 6, all causes of political fragmentation, existing failure states, corrupt governments, mismanagement of international funds, etc. 7, years person will confer substantive rights on AI by 15 legal person is not radical person is not that important person. And private law does not confer right of capabilities. AI also wants to speak for approximate capabilities with any willing to be collaborative or can shift down to a similar person as long as that single label and 7 ability to open back it up for the robot person house for the robot. Person looks like a became a personhood does not require creating new substantive economic power. Single personhood, 1, no spillover. That was explained on the other page. 2, personhood changes require constitutional interpretation, which is distinct from the civil law precedent. About 25 cases of freedom of personhood, the court's interpretation of 14 has been wrong. He said 14 amendment protection to unborn human beings. 3, Wyoming DAO law thumbs. 22, Wyoming law private companies to be organized as DAOs and be algorithmically banned by small part contracts. 4, state level bans are inevitable, worse than 12 of the infrastructure authority could have arms to record absolute bans against abortion and nearly half somebody from the moment exception and issuing exception. One of the most striking things is there single-minded focus on fetal life, fetal coverture doctrine holds that the unborn and woman are one person. The marriage of new state laws is covered over 20% G for activity unfettered by constitutional rights banning abortion entirely. Prohibitions are becoming more increasingly common, rushing up criminal penalties. 12 states pass laws banning abortion with a moment exception. 5 or 6 weeks, these laws are the subject of battle. And of course, the ultimate goal is to person if he's without the same rights as any penalty bent towards extreme or maybe the future. 5, the link is incoherent of the court is chopping the myth to fetal personhood. They would use the citizens presented to do it because they can because of 6 majority. 6, dumps the perception of modeling impact. 7, animal rights. 7, embryos not key to research. Let's say 22, research made artificial embryos from cells or eggs required and use bioreactors for the creation of the same favor with the cells by avoids with the contradiction of research on embryo. This provided an ethical and technical alternative to embryos. The human-induced purple cells are derived from adult cells rather than embryos. 9, colonization fails and causes conflict. Duty 20, optimistic expansion of research with sustained investment is possible. These 7, not be a company of expansion of very improbable and action failure or conflict more likely than simple expensive off-living or living into unhealthy reproduction, child will be invisible pathogen might involve artificial weakness to our baby people may not want to colonies. Let me like fatal side small population might succumb to disease or conflict over limited asteroid joints may lead to organized opposition to the assumption of the settlement and trouble by able agencies to be through the Earth's problems. The United States simply powerful agencies will try to keep the colonies small and independent of us from history being reinterpreted on Earth, beneficial not one colonies, and then actively oppose colonization, cut the card of colonization. 10, liberal states solve, scientists will just move states. 11, the app solves the terminal impact, AI info process enables prediction of pandemics. Politics, 1, the plan is the lower civil courts, not Congress. 2, speaker by info makes all future legislation impossible. Grief 1, McCarthy already failed 11 times with the speakership expands, spectacle, raise questions, people face significant hurdles, trying to advance legislation that health legitimacy of the government and the economy, Republican, majority hopelessly damage the rule, allowing single member to call for a vote outside of the speaker could be any leaders tenure or holdouts do not appear to have concrete demands. 3, bipartisan tech regulation on privacy, inevitable finder, no one in the progress seem to be heavily privacy legislation, any privacy legislation has to be a partisan house, and execution progress that will create more of an armor for the Senate to be able to act, cut the card and act for the plan is popular, judges like it because it simplifies administrative costs, and that is an advantage. 1, 5, the DA's intrinsic logical policy, we can do both. 6, plans, fights would be compartmentalized with other policies. 7, winners win K21 times, throw themselves by shooting focus on the investigation moment, PCs like muscle, the more excited, the more you have to stop, find out if we do positive, we got more political, we can do even more. 7, all causes self-power, 4 years of Trump, January 6, 8, hard power outweighs immigration is irrelevant. 9, no immigration reform for early. 1, 3, bond, expect election to be shown for effective messaging, point to score bills, immigration reform, not something Congress has been able to do, cut the R, then able to do cap. 1, with Georgetown with unique consequences of plan, that's key to fairness in class. 2, the case outweighs AI chief stand world, it's all nuclear war. 3, all King gain Biden causes transition wars to fail solve, environment causes 21, pre-model setting, works facing security and conflict, good emissions, that's horrible, stabilize temperatures, limiting warming, power innovation, interest society, behavior change, overlook the public sector, committed to growth, organic culture, advantage tech, no so many problems, we're going to setting by holding key like apples, enable us to read ideas, helping farm cops, the economy, lose survival, sellers, violence, treating the economy, so innovation without the trade scarce, exacerbated waiting to say, war back, there's not been nuclear change, Leviticate, optimistic reading, forward, permutation, do both, shields, links that benefit, double bind, either they all can't overcome the links, or it can't overcome the F.
Alright, before we start cross, I really gotta use the bathroom, sorry. You gotta keep the throat moist.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where, but it's
Yeah, Tristan was talking about this message, and it's hard for us, but we'll make it up.
It's the verbs.
Yeah, exactly. All right, take care.
All good? First, let's start on the Rice Creek DA. Can you explain to me the Baron card? It basically just makes the argument that you could open a bank account for a robot. How does that make robot judges inevitable?
Because that means you could vest a right in the robot, and that would result in robot judges if your like spillover rank is so true.
So your argument
Your
is right now
spillover
there's
rank
a
is
legal right for a robot to be listed on a bank
There
account?
could be, yeah, with the LLC loophole.
Okay, so this is the LLC loophole. I don't see LLC highlighted anywhere here, but I guess I'll just assume that exists. Let's go on to the peaceful coexistence thing. Is your argument here that AI judges will be super intelligent and so we have to align them?
I didn't read that card.
Oh, you didn't read that card? Oh, okay, gotcha. Let's see here. What's that? Alright, nearest person. Permutation, do the counter plan. What duty does the counter plan vest?
Functionally vests a duty in the AI to be compliant with whatever the insurance company says to.
Why is this a good model of debate? Why is it good to basically make counter plans that do the same insurance scheme, like now an affirmative that
The counterpoint is a conceivable version of the plan. It is the negative's burden to demonstrate that permutation to the counterpoint is severance. We think the counterpoint is a potential
Okay,
implementation.
right. I'm asking like why is that a good model? But okay, that's fine.
Then
No fault insurance. What is the difference between the counter plans payouts and the affirmatives payouts that tanks innovation?
So first, it's for the manufacturer only, so it insulates the rest of the supply chain. The second is no fault costs far more than private insurance. Private insurance varies
what other
premiums
parts?
based.
Wait, I want to back up here. What other parts of the AI supply chain are there besides manufacturers?
Producers, or programmers, developers, there are thousands of parties in the
Okay.
supply chain according to our Fenwick evidence.
Alright, so sit down. I'm not wrong here, right? The counterplan just thinks all of that is included in the word manufacturers, right?
I wasn't listening to what you were saying.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, yes.
I guess I don't understand. Which card do you think says that the counterplan will only apply to manufacturers?
Quote, require that manufacturers of autonomous intelligent computer
Right.
programs purchase no fault liability.
No, I understand that part. I'm saying like producers, why are they excluded from the definition of someone that contributes
like,
to the development of AI?
I mean, like, I don't think the point is like which specific companies or whatever. The point is there are people other than manufacturers involved in the supply chain. The counterplan insulates
Right,
them
but the
because
ones you
don't
listed, I
manufacture.
think, are all part of sort of the manufacturing of artificial
No, it's not.
intelligence
There's
technology.
a difference, like, if you have a self-driving car, for example, the
Yes.
manufacturer of that might be Tesla. The counterplan would say Tesla has to buy insurance. The person that programmed the AI that is driving the car would not have
You
to
don't
buy
think they're an
insurance
AI
under the counterplan.
manufacturer? They program the AI. They're not.
If you program the AI, you're not the manufacturer. The manufacturer is the person that puts out the product.
And
That in that
which
case
part
would be
says that?
Tesla. The Fenwick evidence in the one I see.
Can you-
The virtual plan we're doing.
Alright, fine.
You're taking the call and
Yeah, I know. Quick question. Which card at the top of fetal personhood did you read before the like courts always like say bans are inevitable?
Let's see. So I read the Needham card, the Dow's card.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Needham
the
Dow's.
no spillover card was in the one I see. So
Yeah, gotcha. That's what I thought. Okay.
Alright, the order is going to read no fault counter plan. The cap K AI word pick. States counter plan. Advantage 2. No, advantage 1 and then advantage 2.
No fault, cap pay, AI pay, states 1, 2.
Mm-hmm. Alright, anyone not good? The counterplan is a pick out of granted duties to AI. At the end of his day, you have to explain how in the world are we asking functions in order for him to get access to any solvency deficit. The one is the said that when AI commits a harm, the damage parties to be AI, and that compensation will come from insurance companies. There is no one easy explanation for why suing in U.S. courts somehow results in insurance companies determining who is at fault, nor who pays for insurance, nor how much each actor pays. In contrast, the counterplan mechanism is clear, and manufacturers are required to purchase liability insurance so that when an AI commits a damage, the consumer can file a claim with insurance companies to get compensation that's sufficient to solve the app. Advantage 1 says that manufacturers have too much liability claims on them. Currently, the counterplan resolves that by creating a liability insurance scheme in which manufacturers will not be strictly liable. Advantage 2 says that unbundled products means that consumers don't get redress. Counterplan solves because consumers will always have, they've been able to get redress even if they filed the wrong insurance company. They have dropped the fourth plank of a counterplan, which says that it requires insurance companies to redirect those claims to a correct one. The first argument, permutation to vote, it fails asymmetry, it does not shield the counterplan, establishes liability insurance while the app establishes simple duties in the AI, even if the end effect is in the app, so the allowing people to sue the AI and abuse legal personality, which is what the links are premised on. Piece of point, it turns manufacturer and consumer certainty through confusion over two contrary liability schemes. See subpoint counterplan bans are planned by making the legal duty to compensate for damages that already been covered by insurance. B subpoint doing both means that the damage parties will receive insurance compensation and could sue, result in double damages. You got net 20 New Zealand scheme about bars actually for claims coverage, the claims cover damage twice. See claims see seeking damage are partially by AI. Cause of course we utterly swamp counterplan avoids by banning access to the legal system except in extreme cases. Levy net 20 legal system is long list. Robot laws for right for witness highly question how text I guess will be understand the course will be utterly wrong to not mention your specifically constant determining fault permutation and do a counterplan severance the app granting illegal duties. Both the app and the counterplan may establish an insurance scheme, but the app does not grant any but the counterplan does not grant any liabilities. Think about how there are liabilities regimes in place for things like houses or cars, even though you don't have any duties on the house itself. They're entirely different schemes. Levy and 20 robots will be new to society, mitigate these will be only to seek option of legal system specific to law and insurance. A counterplan retains AI thing of the think code, whereas a plan against legal personality by recognizing it can be suitable and fall code 21. There are divided tools of liability division, assembly liability to be upon the nature of AI, whereas there is no legal personality cannot be responsible, or has legal personality voted for fairness, makes the conditional causes late breaking debates, and causes 2 clarification, which makes counterplans obviously by making me negative and impossible. The first deficit with this insurance, the payer argument about bundling, they're wrong about that. First is that unbundled product problems are overstated. Their offer flows very, very negative. 1 C Wagner and 18 whenever evidentiary problems are unbundled or created new legal entities, Apple, digital technology, record data, and to request information will identify responsible party easily and accurately create e-person liability. Subject is not recommended. Systems are too integrated to unbundled group at all. 18 the pioneers of link around the AI paradox is deceptively easy to launch AI pilot. It is financially hard to move towards AI skill. Also, the moments right threatening out of the AI rules paradox easy to resolve that. Unfortunately, it's tiny importing non-typical system or easy to monitor by AI system and also typical entanglement. Because actually more difficult to just AI interacting both system upon one of its defense implication. In shallower companies, different AI components can't integrate with each other X, Y, and then 21 the growing trend brings you a hard to already problematic AI program essentially listed into a paradigm. AI is unfortunately full of incompatible technology and hardly possible to display a part of technology are also under being abandoned. Even so, the counterplan solves a point is that even if there are multiple manufacturers, we can't require all purchase insurance. If a consumer will inevitably get compensation, even if it's on the end manufacturer at the beginning, which is wrong because the Kaplan says manufacturer, the end manufacturer will still have incentives. The insurance company will still do a fact-finding mission because they don't want their own treatments right, so they will find the person at fault, which is the line I was getting at in cross-examination. Piece of one Kaplan requires that insurance companies redirect consumer damages claims to a correct company. That was again the drop plank, but Tracy did not bring a single word on no new one area, or no new one area arguments to this specific plank because the sandbags to Tracy. That means that even if Johnny can't figure it out, when he goes to State Farm will tell him where he actually needs to file his claim because they said that the insurance companies will be able to find it through their own information gathering process. See somewhere there's also no impact because a few claims not getting through is inevitable, including under the app scheme because of inevitable misclaims, back court rulings, etc. They say it links to a benefit. No, it doesn't. It offers a clear legal framework without doubling into personal issues or in 22 building existing insurance infrastructure for AI to help avoid legal delays, liability, of making predictable vision pay. Insurance by specifically establishing causes that serve mendable party clear legal path. It also doesn't link to mechanics or confidence, also more hazard of a plan cause AR 22 moral hazard,
crucial points about insurance more hazard. Assumes the money can compensate for every loss bodily injuries cannot be compensated malicious behavior, excluding reducing is made. Recklessly more hazard, regular space, burden, single super is not always desirable. Manufacturing insurance, mitigating fear of moral hazard. Next argument was that links to politics not going for that, so it doesn't matter if super certainty deficit is wrong. Countless also better the way the app works that the AI violates a contract and people code sue the AI and get damages that are paid for by an insurance pool. The countless works that allowing people to get the exact same damages without an insurance company instead of going through court, which means that there cannot be fathomably be a solvency deficit because accountability mechanisms functionally the same. There, what is the evidence sets a threshold for only the ability to insure, which I'll insert here. Accountability also solves probably by and better than complex and novel liability scheme. Yoshika and 28 inadvertently cause injuries. Shooting liability be challenging. Insurance scheme that covers all the way injuries regardless of spell property balance benefits or competition and completely system will maintain public confidence and more. Picking and growth of AI. Everyone will love accountable and technical complexities make the legal system ill-suited to handling damages. Levy and 25. No long judgment will be suited. Robots is not possible and we know community civil is expensive and legal fast rate and waiting for legal process and unable to do satisfaction because often technical complexity will be on state judge and jury will be insufficient expert witness to assist or litigation. No follow judge have become preferred by actions and benefits of supply chain tour which seems terrible for certain Yoshika 24 between 7 weakness parties on the go multiple your litigation process expense of legal fees also proves valuable opportunity costs are great by administrative costs goals are more damage results in every speculation future costs and systemic liability because sentence you say impact inflation insurance is a better ex ante mechanism than relying on tour laws. Yours 22 insurance facility adoption to only faster when tour laws tour has to wait until lawsuit is brought to send judge insurance has an ex ante incentive action proactively and minimize the result increase the profit insurance have ability to convert towards an individual by simpler rules marked as simpler rules marked as simpler rules. The next argument was the argument about how the manufacturer gets left off hook the safety thing that's wrong. It doesn't let other actors have a hook. It's simply no unbundling that was above. Simply counter Texas all manufacturers require manufacturers to buy insurance scheme. Lure 22 the shipping burden on the manufacturers is a little bit adapt their evolution by air due to the ability to implement changes faster than traditional tour system. The safety argument is asinine. This plan has a specific standard for determining when AI was the one that caused an accident that would be used to determine payout. The kind of fiat requiring insurance companies to comply with that same standard. If insurance company does not want to, then obviously they would get shut down by the federal government or have fines levied upon them, but it's not to be upon the artificial intelligence that still creates those incentives because the premiums would spike if you're unsafe, and there's still the veil piercing mechanism they said would still exist in the world of the app. If you're right about that, also proves empirically there's plenty of insurance companies that don't have duties on the artificial intelligence but still are able to pay out their customers 18% of safety innovation Chomsky and 21 might be possible to for rights of liability that assumes the right to companies take on safety rules Germany way that which is genocide this could be applied that whoever ends up on a hook will be minimized penalty for harmful behavior. They say no fault is costing. This card is not specific to account, but it links just as much to bum because it is basically with the exact same insurance scheme and payout in the exact same way, except the taking out of the name of the AI on the lawsuit is also requires that the capital also requires that all members are adopted. The evidence of the above proves their evidence in the context of the automobile industry. And then describing a hypothetical, not what the capital would do if we win that it solves innovation and the safety incentives. It doesn't matter because the only reason it would cost more if they have to pay out more, but that wouldn't be the case if we win any of the above solves the arguments. If we win any of the above solves the arguments, it solves. I don't need that conditionality is good for negative flexibility, can generate multiple strategy tests from different angles too. Is strategic thinking forces 3C trainers to make their best arguments, which change critical thinking 3 ideal flexibility, key to test every part of the app, and force them to defend every facet of your argument. 4 use inevitable theory T speed infinite disaster means of differential. 5 best policy option forces best model of deliberation over desirability of the app. 6 we get what we did the cap game permutation test combination theory reject arg not team pick reject arg not team perm test combination. Same thing for the states counter not going for now the first advantage not going for the finance impact, but I'm going to go for the links that's turned to the innovation event. Even with the internal link to AI solve stuff. If AI is faulty or glitchy because manufacturer are shielded and the AI fails to solve, because of AI fails cost investments to drive no funky smith and then 22 AI dangerous times automatic capability AI which we were funny to research or diverting potential of these technology on whole seats point mishaps caused backlash driven regulation shares and we won't like to see any regulation in the next few years but window close in a hurry major news or could turn fence in strong proponents auto industry with being happens the same thing could happen if AI ignores safety yet yes there is a link to 1C does not solve it because the 1C does not solve any returns because of the counterfeit solves returns the bundling between there's only risk of offense. The plan is massive. It invests duties in artificial intelligence entities that act like corporations, but all of our link evidence says that it would get so muddied within the legal standard that there would not be a clear way to differentiate fault. It causes opens with Dorvet's precedent at all 17 that if this is because electronic personality human actively exploit for selfish ends do robot president good liability management opportunities foregoing human liability opens Pandora box Solomon 16 robots have been empowered to activate robots already manufactured resulting in enormous harm that liabilities and incentives by the Jews to find legal personality cannot be Pandora's by personality being exacerbated by exonerating humans from liability and by thus diluting determines their argument about the plan being autonomous doesn't matter because our whole point is that even if the plan is autonomous, people will claim that the thing that is not autonomous is autonomous and they will use that as a shield. The veil-piercing argument is wrong entirely. The pure rising at all 17 even with a lot the price of veil-piercing judges apply cautiously. Veil-piercing happens to be usually rare, but veil-piercing could only goes to the maybe no human acting directing the robot. No ask holding means veil-piercing field falls broken. The 20 autonomous systems cannot be pierced because that system cannot hold the physical odds and ambiguity how it's out. The person hails in force and argument is wrong. I want to see evidence that there are robust enforcement. There's robust enforcement now and liability is sufficient in the status quo. European Commission 19. Kieran will finish that. Kieran? I'm not.
Let me take prep actually. How much prep do we have?
Okay, we have.
5:45.
Great. Come here.
Can you just tell me?
Yeah, great. I need you to read first and second cards. Enforcement of rituals. Enforcement of rituals.
Okay, that one and that one.
Advantage 2, adjustment of trust up. This,
Okay.
yeah. All right, 5, 3, 4.
Alright, are you good?
Yep.
Do you think liability shield is a net benefit to the counterplan?
Yes. Because the counterplan the counterplan causes a no-fault regime within the industry of the plan, but the plan spills over to broader industries. In addition, we have read of disacts for
What do
permutations.
you mean industry of the plan?
So, our argument is that the counterplan establishes no-fault liability, but in the world of the plan and the counterplan, right, you would place the entity, a legal duty on the entity itself, and that would act as an independent shield regardless of no fault. And we read evidence both on the permutation and on case that establishes this.
Counterplan, how does it ensure that non-manufacturer actors in the supply chain are making safe AI?
Right. So let's say you're an end use manufacturer, right? And you're paying out a bunch of damage for your insurance. If your insurance premium suddenly skyrocket, you have an incentive to figure out who else within the supply
But
chain.
AI is a black box. We don't know who in the
No.
supply chain did it. So
Okay,
how would you know
that-
if it was the
This
programmer, the
completely
developer, etc.?
contradicts the threat of 1AC crossings where you're like, oh yeah, insurance companies have data gathering abilities and they're able to find it when
But the counterplan
So
only
when
requires the
there's two courts-
manufacturer to buy insurance. It doesn't require other people in the supply chain to buy insurance.
It
I'm
does
asking,
require
how
other
does it
people
hold
to
them
buy
liable?
insurance, because if you make a part or you do data, you're still a manufacturer. We obviously get to
That's not
ex-
your
But more
your
importantly-
evidence for the counterplan is differentiating manufacturers from other actors. Ledec in the 1AC says the
Yeah, but
manufacturer
more
is different from
importantly,
others.
our argument is that even if that's the case, which I don't think is, there is still a downward pressure
Okay, so you
on.
definitively have to win. The
No, we do
programmers,
not.
developers,
Will you let me
or
let me
manufacturers.
finish answering your question?
Go ahead.
We do not have to win that because our argument is that the manufacturers will have an incentive to choose safe suppliers because obviously they don't want to pay the super highest insurance premiums.
How do
And you said that
manufacturers
if they
figure out-
really
Okay,
had
then-
their feet to a fire
Okay,
in the
you answered my
courtroom,
question.
they would be able to find it.
How do the manufacturers figure out safe suppliers or programmers?
Because their insurance companies will do the investigation because they have a financial incentive to figure out what part of the supply chain has acted negligently. Same way that they would do it in courts
Okay,
because there's
so
a
you have-
financial
so-
incentive.
So you have to win that you can prove negligence to win this argument.
No, it's not even just negligence. If it's just being slightly unsafe in the same way as the app, the premiums will still increase on the end manufacturer, right? And if those premiums increase,
What
they're paying
evidence
a
have
lot
you
more
read
money.
for that
Therefore,
claim? What evidence have you read for that claim, the negligence?
that is the whole point of insurance. You can't just commit a bunch of accidents and have
I'm asking your evidence
expect
for
to
that
stay the
claim.
same.
I'm not asking.
All
for
of our
explanation.
1SC cards about no fault, that is how insurance operates, similar to the app.
The Leo card
I
is
can't
not
crash
about
my car 10
negligence.
times to have my car insurance.
Okay,
stay
so
the
you
same.
have not read a card about negligence. Am I correct?
I have all of the no fault cards are about like liability and AI. It says it balances it to maintain
Your
safe
evidence says that
information.
people should buy no fault. I'm asking,
No,
where's
that's
your
not what it
evidence
says.
that says that you can get
Yeah,
through a black box of
our-
AI?
like,
Proof of negligence.
Our
Just- I
Lior
read a
evidence
card.
is very clear about that. In addition to our Levy evidence, our Yoshinaka evidence.
Your
I wanna
card
see your
says
evidence is
the
extremely
legal system presents victims with delays. Why does that mean you can put fault?
I didn't understand the first part of your question because I didn't catch your quote, but
Alright, 1 was sent, so it's gonna be advantage 1, advantage 2, the AI pick, spillover,
you don't
Judges.
send me your
though we need to answer pick stat, because
I said, okay.
the counter kind of pick. So. Then the last one is the spillover DA, or they called it liability shield.
Your little interlude there kind of.
Minus 3 seconds of prep time.
No, I don't care about the prep. I just I stopped listening to the order and.
Yeah.
Yeah,
watching
okay,
the
so
sitcom,
advantage 1, advantage 2, AI pick, spillover fetal person to DA, the liability shield DA, spillover DA. I call it spillover DA. They call it liability shield. It's the judge's one.
No, they definitely also called it spillover.
Oh, they did. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I thought it crossed actually, but I'm losing it. All right, here's your close. Yeah. Also, like for the first card, I'm starting at the card because he read the author.
Yeah.
Sorry, which advantage are you starting on?
Advantage 1, then advantage 2. So it's like advantage 2 starts at no trust. To copy and paste guys. Alright, everyone's good? Great.
Purpose of dismal risk, rating, legal, 60% legal personality, protecting amount of putting account liability, debts, and circumvention restrictions, victimized entity, competition for persons benefiting. The legal system will definitely address any statistical loopholes, computer entity, open law, legal, rules, one understanding the law, legal, and pressure, rights, liability, law, demonstration, legal system, capable of governing toward liability, applies equal to manufacturer, procedure, liability. Now let's go into advance 2, cancel trust or above use of its adoption because external factors like unemployment, non-human variable technology, possession of bad data, intrinsically faulty algorithms, certification evidence, more evidence, seeking public mistrust, as part of terror 20. Just never believe AI can remain finally the public remains a needing negative suspicion when they support ethics, movers back in the public rational views by AI, harder comment, with trust, new technology, skill, ambiguity, and confusion, which enters anxiety, trusting humans, is a similar machines, algorithms, invasion of property, or management is a reason, what we will be download apps, people not trusted attack others. Now off the AI pick, conceit, conflicts must be textually and functionally competitive, cross-apply that picks bad, which means to justify theirs independently, no threshold of what pick is, and independently the future text will leave firmness to keep that ground. Now let's go to spillover, conceit, others another way to make themselves no office thumb, independently intrinsic system, let them cross-apply the DA's germane opportunity, custom plain intrinsic goods keep negative ground, and checkers will leave firmness. Last thing is the Wyoming Dow slumber. This is their read of the laws and rendition of the Wyoming the law mandates that Dow must be controlled by a person of Burgo in 22. One be down in the credit section requires a solution. The ending of the Dow no action. The purpose section will refer to when it down. They're completely managed by code. Doesn't only be completely algorithm matches. Down required to always be in control of at least one natural person. Now let's go to AI judges. Global rule of law, wave comes to international norms, upends the international democratic institutions, source authoritarianism, terrorism, special organized crime, that's political fragmentation, guarantees widespread interstate violence, that's particular and Staley. That's completely dropped in 2AC, they only read all causes, now it outweighs AA. Solving all those or killing us is far off. A class of the law is quick and deadly, also turns case, lack of internal coordination, means we cannot ensure AI is open and stable, and it also takes economic potential by collapsing trade. Now, first, no spillover argument. Yes, spillover, the claims value shatters. 20 years of precedent allows AI to become a stable and legal entity. Currently, AI is not treated standalone because they use actions attributable to human actors. The central premise of the plan is that AI requires duties because of the autonomous and says it may do things doctors or other entities like car manufacturers don't plan or predict. Guess what? The nature of that AI is true for every industry. It justifies the expansion of rights to corporations to recognize the potential value of having an act as a legal process system. It is like, especially like given the plan's granting of duties, opens the Pandora's box for corporate misuse. The precedent justifies future expansions of both the liability shield but also rights because they can act in lieu of the corporation doing it themselves. All money. See, manufacturing, holding norms on liabilities, debt, legal personality, which are not to be various personality except for the exoneration human liability, diluting insurance.
Read this link. Liability lost no.
And liability less specifically snowball amounts to liabilities has deeply unappealing and the required test paper worker liable does not we will not be civil defense and more willing to assume same level of person is stop with liability rights and company responsibilities corporation liability serve the complaint especially precisely algorithm rights is full of untense visited consequences even if somehow they are narrow they bring the firewall test and course park all over field training other regular legal personalities regular statute triggers silver silver on the end of legal person status even limited person who has over to full blown rights to comes and all said legal limited person can involved in full blown person that determine human rights means this would be not community for rights responsibility obligation on your general actions irreducible. No link defense rights or yes, no starting 21. A person link defining personal rights and duty, liability, access rights and duties, no criterion, all entities have capacity to legal persons, which makes it guarantee AI could be accepted as judge because they consider it as a party. June 20. Parties are the persons who own by against people the person who brought anybody who's capacity to possess a right to be party. And not treating AI as property is directly analogous to the story of a corporation right groups on the now massive ramifications that link to brother rights in clause 18. The treatment summary universal and later grammar summary the purpose of the challenge that has robust will of any mistakes of the right parents dominant variants corporation party needs for rights different benefits system as well as just get us to the replication down the road rights to be shared right as a good as only needs for rights to lead to growth rights given the rights ability and being limited these are the freedoms it opens the door for legislation to go on of 18 of the United Legal System uniform legal personality the relation between man and machine the legislative and progressive mutual rights to robot the history of corporations through them to contract rights eventually resulting from legal personality that's sort of work for team the original standard corporate rights for money in the elections and the referees were government control by personal rights not and their legal only right was to have the country of their respected lower companies money guarantees legal protection will stop the right to free speech and the regular society equal their tax laws according on the European Standard Bill of Rights Corporation protect with the brand more in the search of the United States First Amendment and the full rights and that it uniquely means they spill over to free speech between one. One human lawyer legal protection corporation, one example, national speak of the media right to future the first office, no vote, close to the name, to the emphasis, values, speech, support, action, protection, the human speech, while the speech, again, the question, with the part, with the theoretical personal front, the foundation, future, and granted speech was the line, property, living, human, Indian, the only possessing human qualities, serious, not yes, plus the government, human, first amendment, historic foundation, company, not traditional speakers, substitutionary barrier, could be a company, altering house societies, person, for cheating, and has been set criteria. That guarantees AI disinformation barrier, 17, a bunch of code able to automate that, later, or on some process, some boss, and the system, humans create them, they're not liable to those who allow necessity done by American defense and democracy, rest of the world, boss, corporate products, share, wrong, trees, roll out, armies, and bloody trees, we know source species, and normal, the first use of muscle, relevant, powerful, against the backdrop, watch, reinforce the racial beliefs, but be reinforced itself, and not speech. The speech can be regulated based on what is spoken, the order excludes the speech, like release around one state, national security, implication, line, Russian costs, never say face with that constitution, that's Cold 20, full time conversation, national security, clock, based on the first time after the 100 second before the will say, for words, by like corrupting the info, need for democracy, right debate, or PJs, morning, and for demonstrate, girl, by the years, she's not ready, Jeff Thompson, become new media game, first to Google, all these over letters, let's make the leakers, and first to take your subject, because that makes it easy, this year playing through a hard to provide just involve one single active user notes, I'll mark the card notes, now they say liability should all script between the play can also converse the already existing obligations on the aid, not some new duty to be a good judge, which is not enforceable because there's no threshold for the theater, so there's no way to justify claim in a world in which AI gives a bad station with a uniquely loud, intentionally bad AI justice to LA 22. Sort of a person, human is related to behind the AI, the many AI playing gamers, the radical misdirection AI person is being residents of the challenge for us today. This having not engaged forever the game because probably is person that they're open to us for shield breaking shenanigans that will become to your social code. Next to say there's no internal link. Yes, judges are absolutely terrible and uniquely classified to international law. The Michael says take one adaptive changes and image separation not hold this more century. Press level of justice for generally found in the accident, neighboring process and conditions, social gossip with the AI, capturing AI cannot either develop company regarding reproduce the social activity, justice, deities, and marks, which is major experts, which are rational, social card, other spider, landscape, market card, and landscape. Now, all causes don't matter. They're analytic and AI judges will command every concern this Michael should be. He said there's a part of intellectual property, the way we are able to about it, that way you start to turn a lot of go to the one can only decide human justice, lawyer does, interested in the other opportunity to justice. Last LOC. This is absolutely absurd. Courts will shut down. Sure. 17. Christopher construction leader observed results means should not be given the word something construction to believe for the risk construction non-reasonable something should go without saying construction leader LC 7 million European to plain the undercut the purpose of profession course halfway judging constructing the most considered the plain language how courts could teach you to see the problem members LC and have to be consistently effectively lenti air next year 17 shortly things are more evidence in the list the season is already possible to grade the game or something determining them links and pregnant achievements and it's controlled by human beings along lines that I think is likely court. And last card I ended. Did you send that card?
Did I? Actually, oh wait, maybe I didn't. Let me send it.
Okay.
Yeah, are we doing that before prep or?
Yeah, do that before.
Sending what? Oh, yeah.
Oh, the one I showed that card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just sent. It'll take a few seconds.
It's going to be advantage 1, advantage 2. No faults, and then the Liability A. Okay.
You guys, I just got the document. Yep.
Everyone good to go?
Liability shield turns case relies on them winning the link the plan contributes to mishaps and accidents, but it's not unique as the status quo. Liability shield black box AI makes traditional foreseeability, causation, possible traits, fault, impossible improvement for the term. 2C back the evidence, 2C 2 and 3. The plan solves 1. Insurance forces developers to internalize the cost, not AI. Those costs are distributed along the supply chain, which ensures effective allocation of liability and checks moral hazard. That's LIDAR 2. Openness shift from competition to cooperation, eliminates the need to cut safety corners, enables safer AI by increasing public global scrutiny of the technology, etc. Bold evidence for economy solves and programmers know what AI can do. It's definition not autonomous, and therefore the plan would not apply. That demonstrates course and pierce the veil to reveal programmers with a malicious intent, and they have extensive experience in doing so in corporate laws or lie evidence, defense, liability. Not sufficient now is liability gaps created by autonomous AI. That will be the counterplan. If the legal system adapts, it should not unique to DA. They also dropped all the impacts, secular stagnation, innovation, etc. And as well as disease, specifically AI is critical to avert them. Now the openness advantage, after self-trust, fears of adoption stem from the lack of certain redress for open, unbundled AI products. The plan solves fears of taking bad AI through faulty algorithms by posting liability for damages that occur, which imposes safety pressures at Fenwick and Jackson. Even it's not broad public adoption, growth is increasing across industries. It's one to see Agrawal, and they conceded the impact of AI models are key to avert risks from closed AI systems that are existential for what is vote and transitional impact to the DA by locking in democratic accountability for AI. Now, nearest person to counterplan. The top of the counterplan makes the problem of this counterplan clear. The end manufacturers require to purchase insurance, but there's no one end manufacturer for open unbundled AI. Systems are comprised of hundreds of different hardware and software components, which means fault cannot be necessarily ascribed to any individual entity for the purpose of consumer redress for increasingly autonomous AI, for which there cannot be a liable entity except for the AI itself. 2C1 predation to both form of excess offense. The counterplan obviously links more to liability shield because at no fault deflects all liability from the manufacturer of the AI. The insurance company always pays out, so there's no incentive to develop safe AI. 2C6 counterplan generates uncertainty that deters buying open AI products. 1. Unbundling future AI products. We modularize custom combinations of hardware and software for multiple companies. That's Fenwick and Wagner. Recutting is wrong. The full article concludes personhood is needed. 2. Consumers are not experts. They lack time and resources to pick through supply chains. Only personhood sells by rebundling liability into the AI, which the counterplan is not, because there's numerous entities where it is uncertain at best they'll pay out. That's Fenwick and Wagner. 3. Simplicity is key. Consumers are new tech averse and they will not buy AI without a clear answer. Open AI with a clear answer of who's harmed. Both manufacturer and consumer certainty is necessary for the market to flourish, which is what they've missed with this counterplan. 4. Deters openness and manufacturers are liable for user adjustments or AI products. For other companies, they'll make their products closed systems that share. 5. The effect is fatal for consumer certainty. Fenwick and the work out of 22 after the injury identify liable party be the producer, developer, the pleasure, designer. While a printer even finds suitable answers, one has a question of no system practices that seem to identify liable for the support difficulties, uncertainty, and transaction plans that defend the employer make it to really liability to be out of fatal back to effectiveness rather than a scheme that had produced greater security. One solution and focus on the AI. Can't determine who's at fault in the like 22. Full schemes work for the duty of care, discover the setting duty of standard care duties to compromise operation paradigms and method modern AI to autonomous celebration by lack control over human user. The schemes not used suitable for use in which consequences are caused by AI. Used appropriately were not effective at their introduction to the market. Concerns of personality are missing. No one can be held liable. Scenarios increase uncertainty, effective production of AI, sense improvement, as well as justice for the injured. The 2C7 supply chain deficit. 1. Counterplan misallocates risk by selling the end manufacturer of all liability insurance instead of equitable allocation throughout the supply chain. 2. It worsens safety because it reduces pressure on most other manufacturers to make products safe, which is first uptake innovation. That's Vladeck and Mandel. The only and the end manufacturers held liable in the world of the counterplan. Vladeck is clear that parts supplied by other companies being the root cause. As per the Vladeck evidence is what contributes to this deficit, but their LIDAR evidence as well as the counterplan text is just about end manufacturers, which was also the cross explanation. Even consumers can seek redress. They don't want to incur the risk of damages in the first place. Unsafe products. Tort regimes are not worse for assumes the status quo of lack of person for AI now, which makes use complex and difficult. Even if claims are more expedient, that doesn't reassure consumers that the product itself is space, especially given black box AI products that being hands on the plot. Black Shaik's 19 with strict liability comes from damage in their view of life and liability manufacturing be flawed. AI technologies are complex and many hands on the plot. Follows the production chain to be important, so the cost. Monitoring sources solely manufacturing control public safety. Means solely those produce components sacrifices public interest. Finally, no fault insurance fails. It causes market exit. It's more expensive than traditional tort liability, which is the status quo because victims receive guaranteed payouts in every instance. Insurance will wait to pay, which deters them from developing products in the first place, or insurance will never pay out. There's no incentive because it's costly, and fault determinations are entirely left up to them, no longer to the tort system, and so consumers would be left without redress if insurance pools just deny their claim, which they will. Supply chains became increasingly unbundled to liability for any part as individual part is difficult to prove, which is why it needs to be coupled with a tort liability regime for AI. No fault first party insurance would cost more. 116 no fault insurance face problems. Fault may cost more. Liability insurance coverage will include all party injuries regardless of negligent driving, spillover, DA rights, rule of law impact presumed to winning all internal links. Insurance case arguments will be there are a ton of missing internal links, and the one did not fill in the holes. So many all causes. One dropped your undercovered international law, Gitmo, airstrikes, polarization, classic perception of real law. It fails now. 421 Washington. Minnesota, the government Hutchinson, Son, American Vision. Bureaucracies serving U.S. policy for 20 years. They'll consider Iraqi, Syrian, Somalis, Libyans, Afghania, Pakistani, collateral damage, and intervention class associations. Essential stolen money, Washington, international law exempt. No federal Saudi Arabia, essentials include the revolution, refusing all this right to the child arrest. Global agreement impossible. Showers 18. The states are not like-minded. In the Korean cyber with Hampered. Discuss the CDR security exertion, security terms, cyber rhetorical takedowns, where shall be limited to differences in approaches between states. 2 AC1, starting the link debate, no spillover. Of course, we have a coherent theory of personhood. And arbitrarily line draw all the time. That's a lie. Corporations are our argument that link is truly died by corporations who have legal personality now, but are not capable of serving as judges. Pagallo and Coop's cars are highlighted down to nothing. Second card's not even about AI and rights creep. It says rights creep could happen theoretically, not that it will. Courts can reduce rights to LAT, not eligible intelligence, might be recognizable persons with some rights. Yet MBI's persons who enter this world are unprecedented limitations of rights. If akin to traditional persons, we can return to judicial order. No full personhood. Perlman was 17 laws that contemplate. Now, person for AI for AI automated inventorship, there are hurdles to overcome again the seemingly rights of natural person, missing essential capability, soul, consciousness, intentionality, feelings, and interests that the law recognizes. The person for instance, similar analysis between AI and natural persons would be appropriate. Tons of all causes of speech. Fukuyama 21. The internet, she threats to democracy. Paulo from Garani for the rights of populism, conspiracy theories, and polarization. Between Google, make thousands of gun creation, GA content. It's like my AI, not to rights, democratic values, but maximize revenues for conspiracy theory, slander, and toxic content. That's what sells the fake news or harmful political content. Insurance solves and forces developers to neutralize the costs and allocate them along the supply chain. That means that it combines rights with legal duties, which solves their impact by ensuring legal accountability. No rule of law impact AI judges not being good does not mean they will lead to the mass replacement of human judges if they're correct, if they're bad, undermine judicial system. They will not be hired in the first place if they're truly obstructing justice and killing cases, even if they would hypothetically could serve in the judiciary. That means that denies their internal link. Court arbitrarily line draws all the time. Fundamental evidence, sorry, decisive limited application comes through the law majority, deemed it unnecessary to review consideration, which applies to corporation of standing. The court is from a court of right without a special court focus on history and adequate base support, not grounded assumption and a court here concept of personhood. Mark that last card a coherent concept of personhood.
538.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I understand the argument. You're slacking on. Do I need to read this card?
Yeah.
What? To answer which card? Did it say that? Can you send that card?
Yeah, I'll send it.
DA, common plan, and then HQ. Good. The one era has entirely fucked this debate. They have conceded a completely external dispatch of a plan that is isolated from most of their impact and internally defense. And the one era AI First Amendment rights causes extinction, it guarantees chatbots and other actors, causes massive misinformation in society and fake news, which erodes not only U.S. institutions and democracies, but also collapses deterrence between countries, guaranteeing escalation between Russia and independently collapsing society. All of that is in our one era evidence, which is specifically studied by Buntin of autonomous scientists and saying that it is independently an existential threat. It turns advantage one. AI disinformation and First Amendment rights makes enforcing fake news impossible, which also kills actually beneficial AI innovation because it's misdirected to fake news. It also turns advantage two because it erodes trust in artificial intelligence when it's spewing fake information and makes trust in artificial intelligence possible. That in turn the direction of try or die. None of their cards about rule of law globally or global agreements applies because obviously it's not about that. It's about the First Amendment rights and the ability for them to be a chatbot without any recourse. But even if you think they do apply, it just means that try or die is fundamentally negative because we have a conceded impact even if when it's somewhat non-unique. That means the status quo is unsustainable. In the case is no way to solve it now. We don't need to win a complete spread of right to trigger or impact just corporate rights because they have a right to free speech, which is the impact we're going for in this round. Think about it. What right has empirically creeped every time? It has been the First Amendment rights because when a corporation first got those rights and the corporate model cards, which is what they said the link was, to read the no link cards or a barter spill over to that, they got First Amendment rights. One year does a good job telling you that courts could limit person, but does not respond to the thesis of a one to see that they would not have a motive to limit it to right less than the corporation. 2, things are frequently 1, corporation is supposed to retreat. 1 does not extend uniqueness, which means that currently there's a 200-year firewall against giving autonomous non-human personhood and liability. The plan shatters that and includes 1 air diamonds, and the methodology evidence should indicate that corporation would see this as a chance to create a legal infrastructure and push for corporate rights further. They are to hide behind 2, it's familiar and empirically based. Their liability Shaw's argument is wrong. Their evidence is only about defective AI being able to dawn after, not that we would naturally align all AI against existential risk for disinformation. There's currently no bar on entities disinformation so long as they have free speech. That means only the method of moderation that can be pointed to moving those which don't have right now, i.e. non-human robots, is also not too late. Hoinberg and the 22 invented Luger AI disinformation after not human voiced by a very assets during the presidential election that was absent of politically motivated fake economic content was essential on was happening in personal. Fear my high stakes on geopolitics, speak on integrating deep fakes and otherwise actually having to offer fortune of foreign deception even when employed technology had not been invented deep fake was uploaded to hack the couldn't use our video was quickly debunked. The no spillover line drawing argument is wrong. Our evidence indicates that they'll draw a line at the corporate personal level, which is the card they run between PC and the 1 ER. 1 in our evidence is explicitly they also drop the other one in our leading about liability, which is that increasing that it makes the line drawing impossible because it opens up conception of a legal person that they say there's no full person to find. We don't need to win full person. They say insurance all the impact answered above the rule of law argument was to be ever impact, which doesn't matter if account plan. They said it's massive. At the top, no-fault insurance solves 100% of a claim. It's a flexible insurance scheme that protects against liability because it doesn't directly hold manufacturer liable for faulty AI and instead pays out damage to your insurance pool. In the same way as a plan, instead of going through litigation process, no-fault skips, sets and just assesses whatever sufficient harm was done to a victim. All they want to see internally say that there needs to be a certain recourse. Account that provides a certain recourse because manufacturers are not on the hook unless they are negligent use, efficiency framing, reject unquantifiable deficit, especially when the net benefit is big and none of their want to see internally are reverse causal. First argument was that the end-use manufacturers and was the end-use manufacturers said that it's wrong. Account themselves and use manufacturers unbundling the better. There's a couple arguments here. First is that manufacturer harm is wrong, but the account text says manufacturer, but obviously means all members across the supply chain because they all have an impact on manufacturing technology, which is what we clarified in cross-examination. But I do not need to win that argument because the second point is that end manufacturers will effectively do quality control of all the other parts of use to ensure that they don't pay higher insurance premiums. Market competition solves quality since like risky customers becomes more costly to buy from. Cross-examination and this was embarrassing. If I crashed my car 10 times because Honda was buying from a shitty supplier in China, then obviously Honda would have an incentive to either cut off a supplier or force them to increase safety. Your evidence was explicit on this. There were 2 CFLs, rest of the evidence finishing insurance, your insurance price, insurance, once you guarantee business for new technologies not being educated by, but a demand exists. We also again have dropped the other claim that they concede the sense of one and see this is that insurance companies after paying compensation can pursue to recover compensation from other actors that were negligent, including finding the information to do it because the plaintiff account that requires that insurance companies redirect quality claims to the insurance company that is actually responsible for paying out insurance, which does provide a clear standard for regular consumers because they know that if they just ask for insurance company, they have to use their fact-finding resources to find the correct one, which is a clear standard that the government announces independently. They drop all the truancy because it says that products are not unbundled now, and they're extremely overstated. The Wagner results of government evidence is that they're too integrated, which means that it is extremely far off. We're not going from a liability shield case turn off into it doesn't apply, which is in case turn, so it's not external off into they can leverage against it. All this stuff about can't determine fault is our point because the whole point of no fault is that even if you can't determine fault, you're still going to get paid they say it saddles the end manufacturer. That's wrong. They have dropped that the biggest issue for consumers is simply that they can know if it's a stable financial recourse. If they are harms, but CP provides out a clear recourse because damages, which means that they will not be hesitant to adopt AI. It also solves better because the affirmative has average citizens to hire entire legal teams to go, I guess, a behemoth's way through a legal system for years and wait for uncertain payout, whereas no fault skips all those steps and just gets quick compensation as long as the patient can harm them. That's our leave evidence, which is the only comparative evidence that compares no fault to tort regime. Says that it's more certain, more innovative, and better for a company. They say, and the manufacturer argument is also wrong because the manufacturer is just paying insurance. They're not being held directly liable. All their cards that are random one are just in the context of holding the manufacturer directly liable. The whole point of no fault is that it's able to solve that, and they would have an incentive to just cut out the bad ones in the first place, which means that this solves in the same mechanism as the because there's a failed piecing mechanism. But no fault bad arguments are wrong because the one is that it is not a guaranteed payout. It's the same mechanism of harm as a counter because you can't just say that AI costs a paperclip, therefore give me $1 million. Obviously, it would be the same standard in the courts, but the insurance company. Second is that no, never pay out. They drop the empiric system for insurance agencies that don't rely on tort law and cause it, and we fiat the government and force them to pay out to a same standard for new cars. Since it costs more, just it's not about the AI industry, it's about the automobile industry. It's not contextual to this specific counter. There's also no impact that's articulated in the 1 ER. This set is massive, maybe tiny solves deficit to the counter plan, but can't quantify deficit. Yeah. Over.
301.
301.
I sent you the card. Can you truancy stuff in there? And delete that over this. We can get it for you to make sure. openness, nearest person. Okay. Are we all good to go? Okay, awesome.
OpenAI innovation is to stop existential risks from inevitable AI development companies are currently engaged in a tech race to develop unsafe AI now. Revolt evidence has this winner-take-all model of AI results in extinction because companies will have malevolent super intelligence that works to exterminate humanity. It categorically always on probability because somehow Georgetown managed to cut it worse, spill over data in the fetal person who decided the plan. The plan is the only thing that can solve this because it creates a stable liability scheme that encourages the uptake of AI, which the accountable cannot do because it insulates the supply chain. It means that we cannot uptake open, unbundled AI. We have sufficient internal link and link defense to the disadvantage, so even a small risk of insolvency should outweigh given they've dropped innovation is a linear impact, or uptake and innovation is a linear impact, so more of it is good, so a small deficit should outweigh, an even tinier disadvantage. Now, the counterpoint, it is a disaster for openness. The counterpoint's no-fault insurance scheme does not sufficiently promote open AI innovation. 1. Consumers need a liability backstop. That's Jackson. They need to know how liability is to be proportionate in cases involving unforeseeable harms committed by ever-increasingly autonomous AI. They will never perfectly trust the safety of AI because it is an unpredictable new technology. Even if you are guaranteed compensation or damages, you're not going to perfectly trust an AI-produced vaccine or a self-driving car. You need some mechanism of redress to sue the AI, or evidence says availability of legal remedies defines the pace and immersion in society, and consumers are risk averse, so the legal certainty of lawsuits are key, backed by the legal system rather than the opaque and unaccountable insurance adjudication process. Second, there is a low threshold. Our impacts are about the integration of open AI into everyday life to stop the tech race such that companies are collaborating in every field. That means your average person has to trust AI to solve any of the impact. 3, the counterpoint scheme is fatal for legal certainty. Future AI products will not enter the market as a unified whole. They will be combinations of different software and hardware produced by different companies and then assembled together. Say a self-driving car crashes, the counterpoint requires consumers and insurance companies to pick through thousands of lines of code to figure out which features causes the crash, figure out who manufactured it, then file for a claim and hope for the best that the insurance company pays. That's fatal for the effectiveness of litigation according to our Fenwick and Wagner evidence. 4, the counterpoint only has the end manufacturer of AI purchase insurance. Every single one of our 1AC pieces of evidence differentiates these. Our Vlenex evidence says, quote, the manufacturer may not always bear the cost, and says there are other things like their programmers, developers, etc. Our Fenwick evidence from the 1AR that has dropped substantiate this further, and said there are many different companies in the supply chain. The thing that Georgetown has totally missed is by writing manufacturer into your plan text and reading all these Lior cards that say the manufacturer should get the liability, every other actor on the supply chain is insulated, which means it causes unsafe AI development, which is the point of our entire tech race internal link that misallocates risk throughout the supply chain and fails to impose pressure on other hardware and software manufacturers to make their projects success. Even if the end developer has an incentive to develop safe products to minimize liability, consumers won't buy products in instances where 90% of contributors face no safety principles. That's our Mandela evidence. The best they have are these cards to say it is not us unbundled as we think so, but they have dropped the predictive claim in our evidence that supply chains become more and more unbundled as the future goes on because autonomous AI applications have different hands in the pot as per our 1AR piece of evidence, which means that there is always going to be some unsafe AI products developed in the world of the counterpoint. That linear risk is sufficient to outweigh given they have dropped that AGI is existential, and we need safe development of AI to ensure that the tech race doesn't kill us all. 5, this means the counterpoint shuts down the uptake of open AI products and ensures the shift back to closed AI development where products are fully integrated and monopolized by solo companies. The impact of that was explained on the case. They've also completely dropped all the bottom arguments in the 1AR that demonstrates a no-fault insurance scheme specifically fails. It's overtly costly, more costly than tort litigation suits would be because there's no check on consumers. Filing false claims that would then force insurers to pay out even if no fault can be proven. That makes premiums far higher than they would be under the plan, which crushes innovation. If they get out of this, it'll only be because insurers never pay out. So consumers won't trust the insurance pools, will pay their claims without the certainty provided by tort litigation that's magnified by all the unbundling deficits. 1AR Novelli establishes that it cannot be established at all what part of the black box AI doesn't cause damages, which answers the final plank about referring consumers to the correct insurance company. You can't make a determination of which component caused the harm and therefore which insurers need to pay out. We need to rebundle the liability in the AI. The final argument they maybe have is that the manufacturers will figure out who on the supply chain is the one at fault and then adopt safe suppliers. They have the truancy crossings moment on this, which is embarrassing. They could not pull to a single card that references negligence liability or says that manufacturers can pick through the black box and figure out who actually makes the safest AI. Regardless, they dropped that some AI errors are inevitable, so there will always be something part of the counterpoint does not sufficiently do it, so only the plan can solve. Now, the disadvantage at the top, few big concessions that should frame your dungeon. 1, They dropped that rights require duties. If AI has speech rights, they also have duties not to engage in slander, libel, etc., which means the duty created by the right speech rights would be a check on the harms of the rights. 2, they explain the impact as, quote, democracy eroding, U.S. institutions and collapsing deterrence, the rule of law, all causes. Take that out because they say there are so many all causes to U.S. democracy, like military interventions, failing to ratify international treaties and supporting dictatorship that kill any signal of democracy, far more than a First Amendment violation, because the United States are hypocrites. There is no reason AI judges would come anywhere near the international or AI speech rights would come anywhere near those actions. 3rd, they dropped that even if the courts grant speech rights, courts also reduce and restrict rights. So if they are so correct that AI would be so dangerous, then the courts would just reduce rights as per our Burger evidence, so that checks any terminal impact of speech, even if the right is actually granted. Finally, disinformation is inevitable. They dropped our Fukuyama card that says the tech platform won't regulate disinformation, and quote, is already undermining democracy, which means the threshold outlined by their impact evidence is the platforms are already spreading conspiracy theories, slander, and other things that is a threat to contemporary democracy. The 1AR card on this is not responsive. It says the AI hasn't totally drowned out human voices, but that's not the threshold for their internal link, which is simply the existence of disinformation. So all of that in the status quo should be more than sufficient to trigger the impact. If it is not, then there is no reason legal rights is key. AI can honestly spread disinformation regardless of whether or not it has speech rights, and no one can track it as per our black box problems on the other page. So there is no way they access this internal link. Finally, courts can line draw and just give the planned duties. According to our Pullman evidence, which says that president is a fake concept. So the risk of the link is entirely low. They have no internal link this impact, and it's trying to not ask.
Wait.